Good afternoon, everybody. Tuning in live from America. This is another episode, The Regular Guy Show. And I'm your host, Scotty McFly, that is. Today, we got ourselves a double whammy. We got ourselves a double whammy. We're trying something new today, man, on The Regular Guy Show. Got ourselves a special guest. Two, actually. That's exactly what I mean by double whammy. Whew. See if we could get the first one on in here and get this conversation started. Let's get this conversation started. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Might have to start this one over, G. Hold on. Still getting it right. Oh, hold on. Oh. Oh. There we go. Absolutely. Patching them in now.
All right.
All right. All right. Man, you pulled
Yeah.
up looking like a superhero. I ain't even gonna lie, man.
What's
Motherfucker
good
look
with
like
you?
looking like light skinned Blade and shit. Nah, I'm just playing, bro. What's good, bro? Yeah,
Chilling, man.
man.
Finally.
Yo,
Another.
Kayvon, bro.
What?
Listen,
What's up?
dog. I'm glad you can make it on a regular guy show, brother.
I'm glad to be here.
Hey, man, shit. As you know, this is a show for regular guys, by regular guys, you know. And I'm gonna try something new today,
Okay.
right? Try something new with the freaking show format. What I'm gonna try to do is ask a icebreaker question in the beginning, and then pop off with like the real kind of subjects later on, or whatever the case may be. So
Okay.
you know, and we just keep it flowing. You know what I'm saying? Keep it flowing. But first, though, before we even get into that, tell them who you are, brother. Tell them who you are. Who is Kayvon? And how did you meet Kyle? And how did Kyle meet Kayvon?
Oh shit, dude. Okay. So, all right, man. As y'all heard him, that's my name. Kayvon Weber. Um, you know, from North Brunswick. Born in New Brunswick, and then came over here just a couple of short years afterwards. Of life. Spent some of my time over in West New York, living there with my mother, and then came back over here, and then started in the school system of North Brunswick Township. Um, I met Kyle. We're going back, bro. I mean, what, fall of 2007 into '08? That's when we were in middle school. So I met this interesting personality in Mr. Schwartz's homeroom, and this is one of the most comfortable niggas I've ever met in my entire life.
Outgoing.
Uh,
Come to
yes,
outgoing. Outgoing.
outgoing for sure, man. It was. I mean, if you're probably it was you and Reynoso. You guys were the first two people I think I had talked to in that class because I mean, like I knew some people from elementary from Parsons,
Right.
right? But the most just expressive and self-aware, one of the most self-aware people I've ever met, and just like reminiscent to the sense of humor or kind of sense of humor that I grew up in and around. Because Dave Chappelle was such a big topic, of course, back then. But like you were not even, I don't even want to say replicating, but like you were able to evoke a lot of what I've grown around to be some of the funniest, again, just personalities ever, bro. I still talk about that shit today with some of my friends who don't know you, and then some of my friends who know you very well, i.e. Habib. So
Ha ha. Yeah, I got to
yeah.
get Reeb on the episode as well. I talked about it with him
Mm-hmm.
for sure, for sure. And yo, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your grace and everything. And I remember meeting you in middle school, Mr. Schwartz class, and we used to talk about anime all. You were one of the only people that see, and I actually want to touch on it. I think we're gonna get off the tangent a little bit, but that's fine. It's perfectly fine because we're gonna
Yeah.
lead into whole stuff. I think it was you and that was it. Like I think you were the only person that I could relate to when it came to anime, when it came to comic books, because you had the same passion and same interests that I did for it. But it was at a time where that was like not as popular as it is now.
Not
And like
nearly.
what it is now, like it's really funny. I give people an example, like with that Avatar: The Last Airbender type shit, right? Like now,
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, even in its prime when it came out, it wasn't like a top rated like anime. I wouldn't even consider it an anime. I would say it's more of a like a inspired animation.
Yeah, I was just
But
gonna say like Eastern influence. It's Western animation, but Eastern influence.
right,
But definitely like it's a subcategory. Without anime, it wouldn't have been what it definitely became for
exactly.
sure.
And then they made the live action of it. But even the resurgence of it is just like this is all hype. It's all like popularity control. It's all like crowd control.
Of
It's
course.
like not the people are kind of making it more for the visuals and not actually for the story. And it kind of diminishes. And that's why a lot of these newer animes to me are kind of diminished because like the story, now don't get me wrong, there are a few newer animes that I do have much love and appreciation for, i.e., like, even on the humor side, One Punch Man, and on the more serious side, Attack on Titan. And then
Of course.
you were the one that introduced me to one of my all-time favorites, Berserk. Berserk, Berserk, Berserk. Yo,
Yes, sir.
Berserk changed my whole outlook on anime as a whole. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, like
It's
yeah, that's
it's
it.
it's that is a story that resonated with me so much. My father was the one who put me back onto that when I was fresh out of high school. He, as soon as I was, I think, yeah, I was like 18 going on 19, so it was a little over a decade ago. And he was like, okay. He was like, Berserk, you heard of it, right? I was like, yeah, I don't know anything about it though. If I do, I'm going into a cold. He was just like, I'm not going to say shit to you. He was like, you and your friends. He was like, light up an L and just gather around and watch the 97 anime. The movies are okay, but watch the 97 anime first, finish that season, and then get back to me.
Mm.
And then I want to say like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I was like, Charles, what the fuck was that? I was like, whoa, because
It
it's
just it's
bittersweet.
yeah,
Bittersweet.
it really
Because
that
it's
was like,
unfortunate. It
right,
ends at the eclipse, and that's all they fucking give you. There was never really a proper adaptation, and it's a beautiful story. But the only
right,
way to really know is if you read it. And personally, now, I mean, I'm speaking 10 years later. It's like if you really do want to see the creator's vision that they're trying to really put on canvas, then you should probably read it anyway. But at least like then, even it's we're still robbed. Like I feel like with that, you'd still want to see an adaptation that was passionately like done enough to realize what he was trying to fucking, what kind of story he was trying to tell.
right.
I still don't know if we're gonna get
Yeah,
that.
it's I'm on the fence for animes, kind of finishing out their story a decade and change later. Um, you know, if it's done well, it's done well, but things like Berserk, for example, are one of the things I think should have ended like definitely at the eclipse. Because I mean, even on the aftermath where Sasuke like, kind of maybe regains her memory, I think it's like where's what's the goal? Like I don't know like where does something like that kind of ends. You know, like, and even with the newer anime with the 3D type of animation, I was like, where do you go? Where do you go? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really I don't know. I don't know. But even though that's unfinished, I would say most of that is a lot of a better story than most of the newer animes that are out. I give some exceptions. I personally, I don't know if I'm being biased. My Hero, I like
okay.
personally. Attack on Titan, loved it. Storytelling of that shit was like superb. I haven't felt like that in a long time.
My
Uh,
sister got to meet Isayama at Anime NYC a few years ago, and I fucking missed it. Like I took her because that was her first convention, and then her and her friend started cosplaying too.
mm,
So that was actually the first year she did it with her best friend. So I took them to Anime NYC the day after, but Isayama was there doing the signing and had a huge fan of. So she actually got to meet him, and I was like, "You lucky man," because that is like one of it's just so it's culturally important. That anime is
no,
huge.
really. No, really. And man, I gotta make listen, I'll tell you this, man. I'm jealous. You've been to Japan like how many times?
Twice,
Yeah, man.
twice.
I have got to get there. I haven't even been there half of one time. Like shit. But how was that experience? Will you want to kind of touch base with that? And then after that, I'll ask you this I guess it's not an icebreaker question anymore, but I'm gonna ask you this question uh to see where your head is at on a different spectrum. But
For sure.
touch on that. Touch on that actually. How was it being a forgive me, non-homogeneous person in a
That's an important thing to touch
yeah,
on.
a non-homogeneous person in a homogeneous landscape such as Japan?
And
You want to touch on that? Like, how was that experience?
of course, the being somebody. I mean, and no other way to really put it, an outsider, whether in good or bad context, that's what you're kind of stepping into.
Hmm.
But my it was a surreal experience. But I feel like when I went there the first time, uh, I mean, we're going back 8 years ago. I was 21.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Before you finish,
Uh-huh.
homogeneous. Look, y'all motherfuckers better look that up. Big words, motherfucker. We got to get better at the vocabulary shit. Homogeneous. That's your word of the day. Keep going. Keep going, Kayvon. I just
So,
had to put that in there.
yeah, context is important, right? Yeah, man. It was a big deal because obviously this is something that I had talked about doing out loud since I think I was like 11 or 10. Honestly, not too long since before I met you is when I like first was vocalized. I was like, this is something I want to do, but it's just like when you're a kid, it's just like how do you make shit like that possible? And then I think what I ended up doing, I got really cool and tight with somebody. It was actually me and Habib were just hanging out with yesterday because I introduced Habib and a lot of my friends to my boy. His name is Pele. I don't know if he's probably gonna watch this later, but that was somebody from Montclair that
Mhm,
I met through a couple of friends that because he went to North Brunswick for like a year and
mhm,
then graduated because he's a little older. He's class of 2012, and then same shit that we're into, but like probably even a little deeper, or if not, like me and him are at the same level. But he's bro, like we got tied over fighting games, Tekken, MK, anime, things of that nature. So me and him, we clicked. But then when we started like really chilling, he brought me over to his side over in Montclair where I met a lot of his friends that he grew up with. So
mhm.
I've been tight with these guys probably since like 2013, 14, and then there was a time where me and him were talking about because he would travel. I've never at this point in my life I never really left the country, let alone fucking leave Jersey. I didn't really have the means to do shit like that then.
Right.
And he was like, "Yo, but what if we actually like do something like this? We could probably put something together." And he was like, "I know how to look up an itinerary and put the shit." I was like, "I mean, if we can, I don't know." And then 2015, I guess him and our boy Josh, off whim, they just decided last minute because this is when you're younger, you don't have fucking responsibilities, and you could kind of just be willy nilly with how you spend your money.
Right.
So they did this back in 2015 first, and I was like, "You motherfuckers went to Japan." He was just like, "Let me scope it out first." He was like, "I'm gonna hang out in Osaka. I'm not even going anywhere else." He's like, "I'm gonna go there, and then I'll come back and then let you know how it is." And then he was like, "I'm serious when I say this." He was like, when we go back, you'll be the first person I let know." I was like, "All right." And then somehow this motherfucker, um, Hollywood or Hollywood. I'm thinking like I think it was like fall or winter of like 2016. He looked up a round trip ticket and sent me a link to it, and then he was like, "Yo, it's time." And he found it. Granted, crazy ass layover, China
Mhm.
Eastern. It was a round trip ticket. I will never be able to do this shit again in this economy. $544 there and back. I don't know how the fuck he managed to do something like that, but I was just like, my broke ass. I was working at Wawa. I was like, done.
Ha
Did
ha
that.
ha
Done.
ha.
Done.
$540 round trip to Japan.
There and back. And then when I went there, bro, it was we're coming up actually, we just passed the anniversary of when we left. It was April 29th.
Right.
It was 15 hours. A little side note, before I got there, because I was just so tone deaf and stupid because I'm not used to traveling. So like,
Right.
you got to know what to do and what not to do.
Uh-huh.
And we smoked before going, obviously, because it's a 15-hour flight. But it's to our layover is in Shanghai, China, which was for about 6 hours there, and then another 5.5 hour flight over there. So we probably like killed like 25 hours. Like we
Right.
definitely like missed a day.
For
We're
sure.
there for two. We're there for 2 weeks. My serotonin was high. I didn't give a fuck.
Right.
Um, smoked, and I'm waiting in line to get through TSA. I was just like, I think I just lost in my intrusive thoughts and just not being aware of my surroundings. So I was like, yo, what if somebody just screams, "There's a bomb!" And then
Oh my God, bro.
my friends were like, "We will fucking leave you right now.
Jesus Christ, bro.
We will fucking walk away from you so fast and leave you somewhere that you don't want to be,
Yeah, you
bro.
don't want to
What
play
is
games like
wrong?"
that in fucking
Oh
airport.
my!
That shit is crazy.
And
Playing
it's funny.
that,
You'd think I know better because my stepfather's Homeland Security. I was just like, I don't know why I did that.
yeah, they'll
Um,
put your ass on the no-fly zone. You
throw
idiot.
the fucking book at you without you actually having anything on you. Yeah.
But how was the actual maybe
It,
like experiences? Like how would you say like day to day, like if you were there like for 2 weeks, right? So how would
mhm.
you say like maybe a regular weekday is in Japan? So were you in like Tokyo?
So the first
Okay,
right. So the first week, we landed in Tokyo, and it's the weather during this time of the year is gorgeous. And surprisingly a little hotter than I had anticipated. But our itinerary was kind of loose. I mean, so the way to get around obviously is their train system, which is probably the simplest one in the world. You miss a train, the next one's coming in 2 minutes, as opposed to somewhere like here, you miss a train and you're fucked for like an hour and a half.
right, and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right. So they're like
So
way more efficient, transportation wise.
absolutely, like they just run on a system of practicality where I think it just trumps most other corners of the world where it's just like either technological or just transportation. They kill us every time.
Now,
They're always going to.
now do you feel like you were maybe I wouldn't say discriminated against, but maybe looked at funny?
Yes,
Um,
yes, I was.
walking down the street, daytime Japan, like, oh wait, did you didn't go with Habib, did you?
Not until the second time.
Not until the
Not
second time.
until the second
So
time.
between the first and second time, I'm sure, and to the audience, hopefully you will meet Habib one of these episodes. I got to put something together, maybe some sort of schedule, but Habib is a big African king.
Yes, he is.
He is a big African king in Japan. So I worry of what could happen to people in these other places. So I wanted to know for like the audience and everything like that. What did you feel personally? And is there a was there a veil between what you personally felt and what was actually happening?
Um. Okay. So my experience and his experience, because I'm sure one day he could talk about it too. I know a little bit about his briefly, and it's a funny one, if anything.
Right.
Um. So a couple of things in terms of like how I was, I guess, perceived. Right. Less than it was more or less out of curiosity. I didn't deal with a lot of negative experiences only because, like you said, homogenous. They have very little to no diversity. I mean, there's not that many people from the outside. Like they're even fascinated by white people. But when it and you, as you notice, you watch anime, they borrow a lot from black culture and some of the things that we like to watch, and we're the first ones to notice.
Right.
So obviously there's some sort of bridge, even if the lines are a little blurred. There, that just means there's interest. So, on their
Because
side, to
I
us,
know that I know Japan has a big culture of subcultures, meaning that a lot of their culture, or actually a lot of their subcultures that they have, are really based off of perfection of other people's culture, or not. I wouldn't say imitation, but more of like an appreciation of things that they see in other
right?
countries. So, with that being said, it's like I really kind of find that interesting, that they do have an appreciation for other people's cultures, but maybe looked at funny when they're within theirs. If that makes sense. I
Of
don't know.
course, because it's just like motherfucker, like where do you think it came from? And then it's just like you're treated one way, but then they want to borrow the or not borrow, but some like you said, like show some sort of like contribution to whatever it is that you're more familiar with than they are.
Right, right.
Now I didn't deal with that. My okay, so like I said, curiosity. I had my fro out and about, if you remember. Like that was like a big thing when I was like when we were in school,
Yep.
on my way out of high school. Um, my
Hmm.
my hair was a big part of my identity at that time of my life, and
Right,
that's
right.
when I had traveled on that side of the world, and obviously I was noticed like a sore thumb, no matter where we were.
Mm.
Um, so when we would sit down in bars, I think it was like the second or third night when we were in Tokyo. Um, freshly just newly wedded woman who was 30 wanted to sit next to me and then buy me a drink. And then I was like, my happy ass was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then like she sat next to me. She at like her and her friends wanted to like touch my hair, and I was just like,
Uh,
it's a different
uh,
thing. So my
uh,
yeah, right. Listen, because
uh,
here's my thing.
what?
It, it's obviously it's wrong, but I
Mm.
feel like over there,
It's
because
more
I
of an interest because they don't see us. It's
they
more of
don't.
like it's more like I wouldn't okay, like
Because the people over here should fucking know better into just boundaries, personal space, and how we just understand, well,
American
what you should,
culture.
American culture and just not touching anybody or just, like, it's just like we're grown adults. You should be fucking touching anybody, and because they're different from you,
Personal
even if, yeah,
space.
curiosity or not. We're over there, it's not out of like, I don't. Yes, it's wrong, but it's not coming from the same place where it's like a genuine curiosity where they don't see that shit ever. Where like white people see it, but they're just like that's a fucking very false way to connect to somebody.
Right.
Where it's like over there, they want to know more about it, but it's like at the same time they're not nearly around us enough to know whether that's right or wrong. And
Yeah.
then I mean, I could tell them that, and I tell them I was just like, you don't have to do that, but I could tell you, and but they'll understand. They won't do it,
Hmm.
but.
Very
Um,
respectful people.
they are,
Mhm.
they are, and like that was the thing. Like they were like they that was the thing where I had an experience like that, and I feel like once I because that was Tokyo when and Tokyo is so like tourist heavy because there's a lot of shit to do, and I'm sure they see people that travel all the time, but it's like you never really get to know a country once until you sit down with its people.
Right, right,
You could visit yeah, right. You could visit landmarks and do a lot of shit for personal entertainment between you and your friends all day, but then to really understand the infrastructure and how a society works, sit down
right,
with them. Sit
right,
down with them. Grab a beer and grab some shots and talk to them, and that's what we did
right.
a few times. And even without like those nuances aside, they had questions because again, it was just like the grass is greener on the other side, and they are so obsessed with American culture too. At the end of the day, like
Yeah.
we want what they have, and vice versa, and that
Right.
was a lot of what I dealt with. Now,
You can see that a lot of that influence on a lot of things that they do is you know, yeah, and a lot of things that they do are American influence, I would say, like, you know, I see it. I do see it. I do see it. Even in the
yeah.
anime, even in I would say I wouldn't say fashion too much, but I would just say you know, in storytelling, I would say as a whole. I guess I would go back to anime in this. Like my favorite anime of all time is Naruto, personally.
Okay. Okay.
And in that, like, and I know that's a lot of people's favorite anime now, but not when you were coming. See, you weren't being made fun of. I mean, well, you were being made fun
We
of
crawl so they
coming
could
up.
run, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You
But
know, it's like
even
okay, well,
in that story itself, like when you have like an underdog, I forgot the exact name. Is it Ikidai? I forgot the name of like what the actual story type
yeah,
is.
the
But
character, the shonen protagonist needs to be built from the ground
ex-
up. Like they have to be
exactly.
like stripped of almost like they have to be at like bare bones, nothing, and then obviously they're at the pinnacle to where it's not even so much how strong they are because that's any anime character, but it's like you see the respect that they've earned to where their entire status changes, but it's more or less the internalization that comes full circle and they truly evolve in character if the writing's good enough. But like that's what that is. I know what you
It's
mean.
a Yeah, to me it's American inspired because it's an underdog story because everybody in America,
Loves
well,
an
not
underdog
everybody,
story.
loves an underdog.
A
Wants to see an
Rocky,
underdog win, right. Like
yeah,
wants to see like people scrape to the top, perseverance and be on top, like that is quote unquote like the American dream from the bottom to the ground up,
yeah.
I guess I would say. So I just see a lot of influence in that, even with two brothers, two coins, two sides of the same coin. Like you may want the same kind of thing, but there's two different ways to go about it. Like a yin and yang kind of thing, like two different parts. Like it's very American inspired. I see like coups, like they have like assassinations on like it's a whole. I don't like. I just see parallels in these stories with like American culture, and it just makes me kind of wonder like when are we going to see like maybe a totally black anime? I think we have seen that already, but one that's really on a forefront
Yeah,
of you know, forefront
and
of Japanese animation.
I think it's they've
Because I'm sorry to cut you off. Because the
no, no.
only, not the only, but one of the best animes to really depict black characters to me, which is also one of my favorite animes, is Bleach. They do a very good job of depicting black characters, I would say, and I think that should be studied in for maybe future animations.
Chite Kubo is somebody that seems to understand a little like of some like urban elements and how to like well one for one illustrate black characters properly.
Right.
He knows how to do that. And another one that's low key slept on, even though I wish because I know he's been sick for so long, I wish we had just seen a little more of this. Tagashi, who did Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho, he knows how to draw black characters as
Yeah,
well.
that yes, also.
I
Yes, yes.
think
I'm late to
I,
Hunter x Hunter, but
I
yes.
think he's
Yes.
important to bring up because he's just been around long enough to where I think there was so there was a lot of misrepresentation of black people in crude in crude illustration where like back then it was kind of seen as like an oversight where it's just like it shouldn't be, what the fuck is this, you know what I mean,
Right.
where like Tagashi was around that but still wasn't, you know um he didn't give in to I guess what thought of that as like a normalcy to where that at any point showed up in any of his stories. So
Okay.
where he was properly just illustrating black characters the way that they should have been,
Right.
the way they are more so like more so often illustrated today. That you see maybe in like Fire Force
Hmm.
because there's quite a few of them, quite a few black characters that are represented in
Right.
there. There's Bleach. There's
Hmm.
and I know
Yeah,
there's
and
a few more.
the character in Hunter x Hunter, if I remember correctly, what what was Gon's partner's name? What was
What's that?
with the white hair?
Um,
'Cause he was
Killua.
with the Assassin's Guild, let's just say. But when he had to go back home through like the trials to get to Assassin's Guild or something like that, and the black character that was like protecting the outside, I forgot her name, but that character needs to be
Right.
studied. That needs to be studied because that was done very well, I think. Shocking to me. I was like, wow, that was something that wasn't really like offbeat too much. Like it was like it was good. It was drawn well, done well. And yeah, it should be studied.
Hmm.
Should definitely be studied. Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
those experiences, and then like you mentioned, like subcultures, right? There's plenty of them in Japan where like I felt more connected to day I am because now I know for certain it wasn't by accident or by happenstance. The second city that we stayed in, because we stayed in Tokyo and then we visit all the other areas and like cool shit and like do some of our social things over in Tokyo. But then our second city for the second week that we stay in is Osaka.
Mhm.
That is probably my favorite place on earth. I love Osaka.
Honestly, is it really
I love Osaka.
Osaka?
Osaka is
Everybody,
incredible.
you heard it here. Kayvon's favorite place on earth is Osaka.
Yeah.
Osaka, Osaka. So what is it like in compare like as relative to or parallel to Tokyo? Tokyo's like a downtown bustling city, and Osaka would be like what, the suburbs?
Not quite. It's still very, very city oriented.
Okay.
It's not as hustle and bustle though. It's definitely like so. It's way more grounded and laid back. There's I think a deeper appreciation of black culture in Osaka that you could just find it almost anywhere because it's
Hmm.
I think it's the perfect amalgamation of people that might have moved over to Osaka and made a life for themselves.
Mm,
Where there's like a subsection of Brazilians because Brazilians and Japanese kind of have like a bridge like cultural connection.
really?
They do.
I did
So
not know that.
in Brazil, their biggest foreign population of people that take up space in their country is Japanese, and then vice versa, where you'll find a hefty population of Brazilians that live over in Osaka, Japan, and I'm sure other pockets in the country too. But Osaka's a big one. I met a lot of them. Um,
Brazilians in Osaka. Wow, that's fucking crazy.
we
That's
because
fucking crazy, actually.
we hang out with one. This dude that I stay in touch with.
Hmm.
I met when I was 21, and then Habib met him the second time because we went back because he owns a bar. It's an Irish pub. That's the gimmick, but it's called
Right.
Blarney Stones,
Right.
and that is where I met some of the coolest fucking people.
In
Because it's
Osaka,
yeah
he has an
yeah
Irish pub in Osaka named Barney's Pub.
Blarney Stones,
Blarney
yeah,
Stones.
Blarney Stones,
Well,
and
shout out to Blarney Stones in Osaka.
100%. Shout
That's
out to Blarney.
that's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Jesse is the Brazilian guy that runs that spot.
Hmm.
And I got an earful because the second time that I came over there, obviously it had been like 7 years, I think, since I had been. I didn't get to touch base with everybody I had gotten cool with the first time. But he was one, he was just like, motherfucker, if you're gonna come back to Japan, don't wait 7 years. He was like, I'm about to be married and I got a kid on the way now. He was like, you know how much life has happened? I was like, listen, dude.
You got to get back there, man.
Yeah.
Got to get back
So
there.
yeah, because that was, I mean, he met me when I was 21, and I'm coming back as like a 28-year-old, so it was quite some time. But
Yeah.
it was definitely very bittersweet to see, and also understand a lot of the same guys that I had a very nice experience with. Um, Either moved on or they still stuck around, but like that is, so it's so laid back, bro. Like some of the anime influences, or even references. That's a better term I should use.
Mm,
Um, you could do there's a joke, like it's just like kind of an inside joke that's almost like remote to Osaka.
mm.
If you walk around and like within our age demographic, I'd assume because they'd be the ones to get it. If you go around Cowboy Bebop, I'm sure you've
Of
watched Spike Spiegel.
course. Of
Cool.
course.
So you walk around. My friend was the one who, my friend Derwin, he was the one who told me, he was like, yo, if you see some of those guys hanging around there, he was like, when you just walk around and it's just you and your friends, go at them, look at them, and point and go bang, and then they'll do the, and I was just like, oh fuck, so they understand the Spike Spiegel shit, so they do
Mhm.
that, like
They did? Did they really do
yeah,
that?
yes they do,
Okay, so
yeah, so
the references, damn, it's like so blended into the culture.
yeah, no, for
Yo,
sure.
okay. So I have okay, so we got like 14 more minutes left. What
Okay.
the hell was that?
That was interesting, yeah.
Whatever the fuck. Okay, so I got about 14 more minutes. I got two more questions for you. Because we're gonna do it on the reverse. I like how this went. So I'm gonna close it out. I guess I'll relate it to what we've been talking about. Favorite anime character, and then the last question, we're gonna flip the script. So, favorite
Sure.
anime character.
That's easy. Guts.
Guts
Guts.
from Berserk. Okay, and
Yeah.
why?
Because I think there's a reason my father put this onto me when I was young,
Hmm.
but at like the right age
Hmm.
to really get involved with this, right? Because like obviously, like I'm assuming people like you and me, like we're are desensitized to shit at a young age, if it's like a movie or something, like yeah, like it
Mhm.
doesn't like bother us or like affect us that badly, but
Mhm.
it, the context and what's woven into the story really matters. And Berserk is so deeply woven into existentialism and causality. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of deep philosophy. So
Right.
anybody outside of that story is just looking at it from probably a gratuitous standpoint, because it's a very violent atmosphere, and but there's a level of sophistication that makes it, like they're very just extreme examples of the philosophy that's happening,
Right.
and a lot of those circumstances that forge guts,
Mhm.
it's something that teaches true masculinity,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
and when I say that,
And it's a
that
lot of, I think, I'm sorry to cut you off. And I think
okay,
to piggyback off what you said about the anime itself, it's a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of self-reflection and what philosophy really is. Well, like, and you're questioning it. Like, what is good? What is evil? Like, even Griffith, like you would in any regular normal run-of-the-mill kind of show, you would think that he, well, watching anime, you would know, but you would think that that is the protagonist, that is the hero. That is the person that you should be looking up to and should be leading and everything. But when you see, like, and then you ask yourself, what is power and what is the cost? Like, what is the what is the, you know, the reason? What is the reason you do it all? You know what I mean? And then what is good? What is evil? Like, it's just so many philosophies in Berserk. Like, it's that's really one of those things like where it's just like it flipped me on my head. It flipped me on my head,
oh yeah,
honestly.
there's nothing like
Yeah.
it. It's true. It's truly something special to me, because true, like it was one of those like where guts is used in a way where, you know I guess I'll touch base on how it affected me in a bit, but like you said, like the unassuming parallels of what, because Kentaro Miura did that intentionally. Like you look at Griffith and you would assume, oh, he's the White Knight, you
Hmm.
know, he's the one responsible and so charismatic for bonding these relationships between these people. He created the ultimate brotherhood, so strong that they were the strongest fucking militia in
And
all of Midland.
all of
Nobody
it.
could, nobody could touch
Right.
them. They literally finished and ended the 100-Year War. They are like that because of the relationships that he was able to build on camaraderie and convincing these people they all matter. But
Right.
then what about his ambition? And like you mentioned, what's the cost?
Exactly.
Because now he the one thing he tried so hard not to do, because he put himself so high on a pedestal when he had that conversation with the princess, was that like, I can't allow myself to see myself as equal to any other man if it means getting what I
Right.
want, his
Right.
kingdom or his eventual kingdom. And when Guts overhears that, he was like, okay, so then what the fuck do I have to do? I have to do something for myself and even see what it is that I want, because I've been fighting to survive.
Right.
I don't have a plan. I don't have a mission, but I am elite at this. And as far as I know, being as good as I am has kept me alive. But something else needs to mean something. There needs to mean it needs to mean more, and so much more that he even got good enough to understand his, Griffith, where Griffith was, they're both struggling with their own emotions, where, and that's like the thing that I think where I was affected with this. There's a lot of emotional intelligence, or the seeking of it,
Hmm.
that's going on, because Griffith is trying to put himself so high that he's trying to disconnect and, see himself as an entity where he can't be friends or that close with anybody, even though he can do
Right.
it for other people, but he can't do it for himself, because then it means he stooped down to somebody else's level, even if it's Guts, where he's not even allowing or trying to acknowledge that that was his best friend. And the
Right.
moment Guts, the moment he sees himself as, where he's trying to realize just his potential, obviously that gets in the way of Griffith's plan,
And with Griffith
crushes his.
being stripped of his power, like you really, I don't know if that's like a philosophy I can really put, but I
Mhm.
would just ask, like, would you like, not, I'm not asking you, I'm just saying that, like, just like, like whatever the fuck question, I forgot the word for it, but what would you do for power? Like, if it was right there, if it was offered to you here and you were stripped of all of it,
Yeah.
at the cost of everybody who brought you here, what would you do for that power? And I really think that um, makes the character. You know what I mean? I really think that makes the show what it is because it asks. Well, I will ask myself: do you need evil to be good? As Guts, kind of came up experiencing nothing but evil, but being the actual protagonist.
Right. And in the golden age era, which is supposed to be the arc of prosperity, and when he finally understands what it means to be close with people
Right.
at all, because he didn't have that. But then it's just like you mentioned, he was dealing with the shittiest of circumstances in like a medieval setting since birth. Like it
Right.
just he's just meant to like be face to the fucking floor with the odds stacked against him since the moment he started breathing life. You
Right.
know,
As opposed to Griffith, where he's had, camaraderie. Well, not that he hasn't built himself, but
much
you
longer than
you've had
guts.
you've had good, but you've became evil. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and what do you need for power? Like, it's just it's so many things.
It's
It's so
layered.
many. I could talk about it forever, honestly.
It's a lot to unpack, and I think to really I guess get to the point of how it
Mhm.
affected me, because like when you're young, especially and you think you fucking know everything and you don't, and like when I was at that age, I think it was the perfect time for me to be introduced into realizing how much the relationships that I have with my friends and even family, obviously they come first always, but it's just like I need to understand the depth of how much this matters and what it's gonna how it affects me to I guess ultimately just become better because
Mhm.
Guts was at a point in his destitution after the eclipse where obviously a lot of it deals with Costco because that's the epicenter of where a lot of his sorrow and rage is coming from because of what happened to them. But
Right.
he was so ready to let go of the one thing that mattered the most to him on his personal pursuit for retribution, where
Mhm.
it's like it cancels out. It
Right.
almost just makes it devoid at that point because it's just like if you're willing to get rid of that just to get fucking even, then why are you doing it?
Right.
And that
That
was what
that makes you just as bad. You know what I mean? Like that makes you on that same. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you notice because he was given a family. He was given people to be close with and trust, like so much to where like he would give his life for theirs. But obviously they would do the same, and that's just something that he wasn't used to, and it's fucked up because Griffith gave that to him and then took it away.
Right.
So in his pursuit or just conquest of just slaying apostles and killing demons and the supernatural and
Mhm.
unnatural, there's things that are beyond human comprehension. Um, he starts to obviously lose his
Right.
identity, and like you said, Berserk deals with a lot of reflection, but he could only find that when he has people in his life. So now, when the story starts to kind of like layer itself, he meets Isidro, who's the kid that he sees a lot of himself in. He
Mhm.
meets the sorcerer Xeric. He meets a little bit, somewhat of an equal to him,
Mhm.
Serpico, who's the fencer.
Mhm. Right. Right. Right.
For Nice from the Holy Iron Chains or the
Yep.
Conviction arc.
Yep. Mhm.
These people that are also having their personal struggles, but Guts is a beacon of hope, even when he didn't even realize that he was. In whenever he was trying to just be in the whenever he was just placed in the situation to fight for his own reasons, but ultimately it was synonymous with everybody else
Oh
and
shit.
just doing the right thing.
Mhm.
So, but he only found parts of his identity again and was becoming a better person and being tuned with his emotions once he allowed people back in his life.
Mhm.
So that was and I think that's what it is, right? Like, because the misconception of masculinity is, because you're on the fucking internet today, it, it's
It's
a
all
lot.
bullshit. It's all listen.
Yeah,
It's very fluid these
it is.
days. It's very
Yeah,
fluid. It's
you
very
know,
up for debate. But
it is.
I
It is
think
up
that
for debate.
we all of us deep down know what masculinity is, and there's no real toxic masculinity. There is only masculinity that you do not like or you like, and masculinity is something that protects, something
Yeah.
that strives, something that perseveres. So, the more you diminish it, the more you're going to see things in society that are fucked up. But thank you for telling me everything about guts.
Hmm.
I gotta ask one more question. This is the final one.
What's
And
up?
flip the script. 100. Now what was the question? Okay.
Is it 100
100
gorillas?
Shaquille O'Neals versus 100 Shaquille O'Neals versus the gorilla. What do you got?
100 Shaquille O'Neal.
100 Shaquille O'Neals?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, all right. I think Shaquille O'Neal's can fuck up the gorilla. I
I
think
think so
Shaquille
too.
O'Neal's can fuck up the
Because
gorilla.
it's
Okay. Yeah, because
one gorilla, right? And I understand, like, you just look up fights, like natural, like wildlife, like encounters that they have with other animals,
right.
and like, yeah, it's a wild beast. It's just nothing but like of a just a force of nature. It's just primitive force.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. Oh, wait. Your audio might be off. I don't know. Now they can't hear you. I'm not sure. Let me see. Headphone might be off.
No,
Yeah, I got you now.
gotcha.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but it's a gorilla, right? Obviously, you can't underestimate something that's so strong, but at the same time, it's like anything could be overwhelmed. Anything could be overwhelmed. It's 100 Shaquille
Everything.
O'Neals. Yeah,
Yeah.
I give it to that.
Yeah. 100 Shaquille O'Neals. That's Kayvon's answer. And I agree. I agree. Well, shit, Kayvon. Listen, I appreciate you making an appearance on this regular guy show, man. Thank you for taking the time out to speak with me, man. Showing the people who you are, for sure. Well,
No, man, it was definitely a long time coming because I know it was a discussion a little while back. So
no, yeah.
I'm happy to be here, man. For real.
No, yeah. No, yeah. And yo, that time that I saw you on Halloween, I was so glad to see you, man, because I ain't seen you in a while before that.
It
I'm
was
just
fun.
joking. That shit.
That was
Yeah, it
fun.
was a good time. It was a good time, a good conversation. So I'm glad that we could make it full circle, man. Maybe we gotta go get a drink soon or some shit, man.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. I was out with I think Mark and Devin and them. I was out with them roughly
Yeah, they
about a month
said.
ago.
Yeah, they said. I came out. But they said I think you and Habib left because we were at that pub. I was with Mark. I was with Devin and a couple of other guys. But they said you and Habib like left out before we got there.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
actually separated from Habib because I was just like, I got work in the morning. I'm hungry as hell. But then I think Habib said that he ended up coming back, and then I think you were gone by that point. But they mentioned they ran into you.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, in due time, cause Cinco de Mayo's coming up, man. Shit, we gotta fucking do something. Shit, I don't
It's
know.
yeah, no, that's something I don't give enough. Or at least cut out enough time to because it's always like a weekday or some shit. But fuck it,
Yeah,
we can figure something out.
shit. Listen, man. Thank you for appearing again, man. I'm gonna keep on continuing on. We got a double whammy, double presentation. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me again, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, brother. Peace.
For sure. Hold on. Okay. So now I don't really know where to take it. I think I'm gonna pause it right there. I'm gonna do a double whammy part two. Double whammy part two. Um, yeah, stay tuned. Coming in a few next minutes. So stay tuned with me. Goes original. Go look it up.